Yo, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Blue Lounge. I hope, I can't even say it. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Lads, what a disappointment. What a disappointment. What a disappointment. You know, this close to not streaming. This close to not doing the stream. But we got to do it. We got to do it. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about it because, you know, avoiding these things and just leaving them for another day when we calm down and cool down and relax and chill out and let's do it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Today we saw a bad performance. Today we saw a bad performance by the players and by the manager. By the players and by the manager. Is there reasons for that? Is there issues that need to be addressed? Is there problems? Yes. There is. All the above. All the above. Some of these issues and some of these problems are not just Chelsea related, generic to Chelsea. You know, it's December. A lot of games, a lot of fixtures, squad rotation, fitness, injuries. But we should do better. We can do better. We have the ability and the players and the management to do better. Today, I am disappointed with every single aspect of that team. I am going to single names. I am going to point out players here. Jorginho's pass to Mendy was a very poor one. But the way Mendy dealt with it was even worse. Bad pass, you got it. The ball came to you and you got the ball. Blast it out. Kick it out. Boot the thing out at the bloody park. What are you trying to do? Step overs? Mendy made a massive mistake. His focus was shattered for the entire game because of that mistake. He was not focused. His mind was elsewhere. Mendy conceding 3 goals is unheard of. Mendy conceding 3 goals is unheard of. We were talking about the match yesterday and we were saying, you know, some of the guys in their predictions said Chelsea may concede a goal. 1-2, win 2-1 or 3-1. And I'm like, Chelsea going to concede? Mendy's going to concede? Mendy conceded 3 goals today, lads. 3 goals. I don't know. Romelu Lukaku was brought on in the second half because Havertz was injured. A lot of us were thinking Lukaku should start the game. He didn't. He came on and he played a full half of football. 45 minutes of football. What did Lukaku contribute to that game? What did Lukaku do on that pitch? I'm a big fan of Lukaku. I'm a big fan of Lukaku. But what did he do? Zero. Now, I think Lukaku is still not fully match ready. And thus, he hasn't been able to contribute. But who brought him on? Who chose to play him? The manager. If anyone knows what Lukaku's situation is, it's the manager. Why bring on Lukaku when you have other alternatives? The most creative player on that pitch today was Ziyech. Fantastic ball to Mason Mount. A fantastic volley. A fantastic strike. Why take off? Bring on Callum. Bring on Pulisic. And support that side of the pitch. Take off Alonso. Do what needs to be done to strengthen what you have on the pitch. Do not weaken it. Do not hinder it. Unfortunately, Tuchel, his substitutions have been lacking over the past few games, and today, unhappy with them. I am unhappy with them. There were some positives. Thiago Silva played out of his skin again. And he's been doing that ever since he's worn that Chelsea shirt. But are we overplaying him? Are we putting a strain on his body? Because, listen, lads, the geezer's old. The geezer's old. A lot of questions need to be answered today. I've given you a few. And I'm sure the geezers in the panel and you mans in the chat have a ton more to ask. And we need to ask them. Let me address some of the comments. And then I will bring on the people from the panel to say what I go on. Elijah, big up. James, Eric, Tobago. Who else we got in here? Abdul B, DJ Sav. Bry Guy declared. I'm not sure how to send you a link. I don't know. I hope so. Good to see him on. Who else is here? Fidel, big up. Big up to everyone. If I've missed anyone, I apologise. There's a lot of comments in the chat. Big up, Julius, MDT, GNA TV Gem, and Bobby Smoke Signals. How you all doing this afternoon?
Thanks, Mo. We're good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah. Welcome, guys. Listen, I know Jem needs to go quite soonish, so I'm going to give him the opportunity to kick us off with his feedback on the game, and then I'll hear from everybody else. Jem, welcome to the stream. Give me your thoughts, mate.
Thanks for having me, bro, as always.
Pleasure. Pleasure's
I
mine.
feel a bit like you, a little bit deflated, if you're my honest feeling. It's kind of mucked up my day now a little bit, especially that second half performance. Tale of two halves for me, really, when you look at it. I think the first half we were very in control. Movement was there. All right, wasn't creating as much. We had moments that we could have maybe been 2 up rather than 1. But in terms of how we played the first half, I thought we took it to them. And then we obviously made that individual error starting from Jorginho and ending with Mendy. And for me, it's becoming more of a normal occurrence, which is quite alarming for me. It's that we can control games and dictate and boss games. But we always allow teams on the odd occasion the opportunity back in. It's never down to the way that they're playing or a great goal. It's always because we do something stupid. And it's becoming a little bit frustrating for me now, especially when we're trying to compete for number one, winning the Premier League. These are things we have to cut out of our system. Like it's just not good enough. And then obviously Havertz gets injured, and it gets to the second half, and Lukaku comes on, and straight away I said, look, I want to see a big performance from him. I haven't got time to wait when it comes to Lukaku. We spent £97 million. I need to see him getting involved. He's played in the Premier League before. I need to see him make an impact. And listen, I'm not just going to sit here and blame him for it, but we've got to give the same energy, because we moan about Timo Werner and we moan about Kai Havertz. But from what I saw of Romelu Lukaku today, it was probably even worse, because he wasn't even moving. He just didn't offer anything. Every time we got the ball out wide, he wasn't anticipating to make runs to the front post.
We were down to 10 men. Jim, we were down to 10 men for the second half.
He wasn't anticipating to make runs to the front post or come. It was like, if you don't give me the ball to my feet, I'm not doing anything. That's how I felt, literally how I felt watching him. And it frustrated me, because this system, and I keep banging on about it, needs movement. This is why a Havertz and even a Werner would probably look better than Lukaku. Now, it is still very early, and I'm not going to sit here and blame him completely for it, but it wasn't. If we're basing it on this game, it wasn't good. Then you just quickly look at our defence. I'm sorry, Antonio Rudiger had a stinkers day. He was out of position. The second goal, he didn't even anticipate once Thiago Silva headed the ball down to cover him. He was just jogging next to him. He just looks leggy as well. I remember near the end, going into the 8th minute, he looked like he couldn't run. And maybe he's being overplayed. We haven't got anyone that can come in and cover him other than Malang Sarr. And I don't know, he just didn't look right. Christensen got targeted by Antonio the whole game because of his physicality and in many ways got bullied to a degree. I thought he'd done well in the first half, but the second half just struggled overall. Thiago Silva for me was the only bright spark, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who looked better than he did against Watford and against Man United. But, people say, well, it's Mendy's fault that we lost the game. I don't think we've done enough in the second half to even sit here and say, yeah, if Mendy didn't make them decisions, then we would have, this, that and the other. But at the end of the day, I just think it wasn't good overall. Yes, Mendy made a mistake. Yes, Jorginho made a mistake. The third goal for me was just a fluke. He will never be able to do that again. I don't care. And that some people say, well, Mendy should have saved that. I don't know. Again, because of his body position when the ball came to him. So I ain't going to sit here and slander Mendy, because he's been so good. And to be honest, he saved us in so many games as well. So for me, the more worrying thing is the system and the movement and the fluidity. And we're not getting that when Lukaku plays, but he needs to play, because we've spent double the money on him than what we spent on Timo Werner. Do you know what I mean? So it's a really tricky one, mate. But look, it's not over yet. We may be third by the end of the weekend. This will go up and down. There's 7 games in December. Points will be won and lost for most of us, I'm hoping anyway. And, we could find ourselves that we're back top at the end of December. But we need to now go on and respond and get maximum points. So what I would say is just don't panic yet and just wait and see what happens the next game.
Jem, key word is response. We need to see a response, and we need to see a response on many levels, from the players, from the management. I mean, there is a lot that needs to be addressed. I'm going to go around the board, and then I'll open it to everyone. I'll go to Julius. Julius, your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, thanks for having us, Mo. Very similar to what Jem said, honestly. I don't want to blame Mendy because he's bailed us many times this year. We would have probably dropped more points if it wasn't for Mendy throughout the season. So he's a human, he made a mistake. It's okay. My issue is the left side. When this injury, that Chilwell injury, is just gonna be really tough to cope without him, it seems, because Tuchel has been also making odd decisions to trying to figure out something on how he can protect that left flank. Alonso is a liability on defense. He hasn't been that well on offense. Bringing out Ziyech was a huge mistake. Lukaku, I'm gonna try to be as cool as I can, but I've been holding off from criticizing him for a while, even though I was one of the most aggressive people against his transfers, against him coming to Chelsea in the last summer. And I knew, and I'm not surprised, this guy is not good enough. And I'm sorry, anyone who still thinks is early or he's gonna get better, or you're just hoping for, you're just dreaming. It's not gonna happen. He will not be the striker that will get you 25 goals a season and be a big part of you winning the league. He's lazy. He's not even looking as sharp as he looked with Inter Milan in terms of his fitness and his body. He looks like he's gained some weight. His attitude stinks, and every time he's up front, we look static. There is literally no creativity. I'm not sure if Havertz got injured or something from the Zuma tackle. I don't remember, but like Lukaku kind of killed the game today up front. I don't know what to say more than that. I've had enough of him, honestly. 7 games, no goals before his injury. So I'm not having any of it that he's still not ready or he's still coming back from it. I'm not having it. I'm sorry. Other than that, Jorginho, again, you know what? He may have been blinded or something by the sun. It was on the side where he was from the south side, but also a bad decision. But I'm not gonna blame Jorginho or Mendy today. I think Tuchel made a couple of mistakes, and I think there's big questions to be asked about Lukaku going forward.
All right, I'll jump over to MDT. MDT, give me your thoughts, mate.
Yeah, to be honest, for me, when I'm watching the game, I can be emotional or whatever, but as soon as the game finishes, I rationalize it. If you guys go back since I start contributing here, one thing I always insist on, don't play players there when they're unfit. I defended Ziyech after the shoulder injury, I said it. And everybody on this panel, apart from you, Mo, was piling on him. You remember? I said it's not fair to judge a player when they're not fit. Okay, fans don't care whether a player is injured or whatever. They think that the player is a machine. When they're on the pitch, they should perform. They're not human. I saw the Brazilian Ronaldo in a World Cup final against France. He was terrible because he was unfit. Numerous players, it doesn't matter what type of player you are. If you're not fit, you cannot play. So fans should stop this rubbish to think that when a player is unfit, you should go and play. It's not even physically possible. That you're talking, anybody that says something like that, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, I've defended Ziyech, I defended Mount. You remember, after the tooth stop, I said the Mount I saw, there's no way he could play. People say, no, it's Mason Mount. What happened? It took him 5-6 games to recover. I said it about Pulisic. They're not ready. I said it about Callum whatever. They're not ready. But people think because of somebody is a player you bought for, even if you buy somebody for 1 billion, if they're not physically fit, they're not physically fit. It doesn't matter. You look at Reece James today. He's not fit as well. A lot of these players are playing with injuries. Okay, we have injuries. I'm not happy with the result. I can go here and blame individual performance. Like example, there's goals. Yeah, people are right. For the first goal, there's 2 people that made that mistake. Jorginho is the instigator, and the perpetrator is Mendy. But if Jorginho kicked the ball out, but the reason why Jorginho didn't do that, because he reduces his pass percentage. Okay? That's why midfielders rarely kick the ball out. They always give it to defenders or goalkeeper to kick it out. Okay, it's to keep their stats up. That's why midfielders do that. Which they pass in the box. They put in another person in a vulnerable position. Okay, I'm not gonna blame Jorginho on that because he does that a lot. Sometimes it's not. Most of the time, it's not a goal. That's not a problem. It happened in football. That's football. Okay, with the second goal, yes, I agree. What the 2 people involved there, Rudiger and what's his name, and Alonso, they should have read Thiago Silva heading the ball, challenging with whatever. They didn't react. First of all, Alonso didn't react with Kufal, and Rudiger hesitated. He didn't know whether to go with Kufal or to go with Bowen, which was the second mistake. The first mistake was Alonso, the second was Rudiger. But the third goal, that was not Mendy's fault. No goalkeeper. If a deflection goes in, I've never seen anybody blame a goalkeeper. Go and speak to anybody that knows a goalkeeper, go and ask them. If a goalkeeper saves a deflection, that's a bonus. That means the goalkeeper's reflection is wonderful. Okay, for me, that third goal, the only problem I have with that is Reece James was left on his own. When West Ham have a throw-in, our players were walking back. It's like they were tired. They didn't run back because that ball came from a throw-in. Masuaku to, what's his name, Antonio back to Masuaku. Ruben was late to come back, and he deflected off Ruben. How can Mendy save that? If he saved that, that's a world-class save. It's a deflection. The ball
to be fair,
he almost did. The angle of that ball is almost impossible to save. Anybody that said that's on Mendy, you've never played football. You've just watched it. Okay, so let's stop this whatever blaming players here, there. It was a terrible mistake. It was a terrible performance. Okay, like one thing again, Alonso was terrible. I'm a big Cho fan, okay? But when Cho came on the pitch, he didn't contribute. The reason being is, first of all, he was playing safe. We didn't need players to play safe. Ziyech was taking chances. And also, Tuchel moving Ziyech to the left and Mount to the right on the second half, that's what even caused the problem. Because for me, Ziyech was on the left doing well. Mount was doing well on the right. He moved them around. Okay, that's what caused our attack to slow down more than anybody. Because Ziyech was doing very well on the left. If you check the second half, he was on West Ham's left, our right. The second half, he was on our left, West Ham's right. Okay, so that's the manager's fault. And also, why bringing Callum?
In regards to defending the players, I know.
No, I'm not defending them.
No, what I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is this: we can defend. We can defend the players. We can defend the manager. But I don't think. I mean, had West Ham played a fantastic game of football, and they were the better side and they beat us, hats off to West Ham. West Ham played good. They played good. They played a good game of football, but they didn't play well enough for Chelsea to lose 3-2. I think today there were selection errors, and I think today our players were not motivated enough for this London derby. I don't think our players. I mean, I really can't say this because a lot of the players, in the team grew up in London and they know what it's all about. Playing West Ham is a derby. This is a London derby. This is, and to be fair to West Ham, they are the second best team in London right now. Okay, so this game has a lot riding on it, and it didn't look like the players were playing it with that passion. I'll take Mount and Ziyech and even Havertz. I'll take the three attackers out of this because I think they did okay when they're on the pitch together. Ziyech, Mount and Havertz, they all did a decent job. When they were taken off and then we saw Lukaku, Pulisic and Callum come on, the game changed. Lukaku coming into the team, I don't know what happened, but there was no attack. You've just put in. One second more. We've just put in the player that cost us nearly £100 million on that pitch, and instead of making us a stronger attack, it made us have a weaker attack. That for me is a problem. And before the game kicks off, I commented in the group and I said, Lukaku not starting is a concern for me. And Bobby asked, why do I think it's a concern? And I said it's because I don't think he's match fit. I don't think he's fit enough. And that is a problem because if Lukaku is physically fit 10 days ago and he's able to be on the pitch, on the bench, then why is it taking him so long to get onto that pitch and be able to perform? And again, I don't want to criticize Lukaku because I think he's a fantastic striker, but I also agree with what Julius said. The man's adding weight. His waistline is getting bigger. And Lukaku, one of the reasons why I defended us buying him and bringing him into Chelsea is because I saw he turned it around when he went to Inter Milan. He left Manchester United, overweight, slow, lethargic. He went to Inter Milan and he became something else. And that's Lukaku that I was keen to see play for Chelsea. And unfortunately, it looks like he's going back the other way right now. And again, I do not want to be criticizing our players because I want to see Chelsea improve. But we got to point out the defects that we're seeing in our team today. Because if we don't point out the defects, we're not doing justice to our club, to our team. And again, I apologize if I've stepped out of line, but that's just the way I see it, Mo.
What my point here is the two most dangerous players today were Mount and Ziyech. They were moved after Lukaku came in. They were moved from their position. They were doing very well the first half. And for me today, personally, I don't think Callum should have. Even the beginning, you saw my lineup. Callum as left wing back is a liability. As much as Alonso is a liability, Callum is a liability. It's a liability. So people might say, "Oh, play Callum there, play anybody but Alonso." Alonso is a liability, but so is Callum. Lukaku is not fit to play. I don't think he should play. I think I would have even played Pulisic before Lukaku because Pulisic is almost there, but Lukaku is not. Okay. I would have even when Havertz was injured.
Sorry, Mo, we've seen that combination. Okay. Pulisic, Mount, and Ziyech up front, and they did well.
Okay, I've been saying that. Don't play Lukaku until he is ready. Okay, as much as people give him last 10 minutes, 20 minutes there and there until he's ready. If you go by Tuchel history of bringing back injured player in, he never rushed them. That's the way he managed. He doesn't rush injured player. I think the only time he did it was PSG because of Mbappe doesn't take his time or Neymar. They want to play immediately. He has history of players being fit. He will keep them on the bench for 2 weeks or more.
Mo, I have a question for you. I have a question for you, Mo. Why do you think he's not ready? What if he is ready?
It's the injury. When you have an ankle injury, especially the grade they have, him, Reece James, and Pulisic. Even though you can walk and train with it after 5 weeks, you're still in pain up to 8 weeks. If you can't, some people, they can manage the pain. Some people can't. If you cannot manage the pain, that means you cannot put weight on it. If you cannot put weight on it, you cannot run. If you cannot run or you cannot shoot with your leg, that's have an ankle issue. It affects your movement. It's just like when we were talking about Ziyech's shoulder. I said the same thing, but nobody listened. The thing is, when you have that type of injury, it affects Eden Hazard. You remember the season that Mourinho was sacked when we finished 10th? He had the same injury. He didn't score up to what he scored. When did he score his first goal? It was in April or something. That season, remember? When everybody will say, "How could you be player of the season one season and then terrible the second season?" That type of injury, you have to take your time. You cannot play with it. Lukaku will want to play. That's true. But all players lie to their manager. "Oh, I'm fit. I want to play," because they're under pressure to perform.
1 second, Mo. We're getting into the debate, and I still haven't heard the feedback from Bobby and from the Podfather. So I'm going to let you guys sit tight for a second. Let me hear from Bobby, Podfather, and then we'll open the debate to everyone. Bobby, give me your thoughts on the game, mate.
Yeah, hello, gentlemen.
Pick up to you, Bobby.
Yeah, there's a lot of dysfunction at the moment, and I know exactly why. There's a common denominator. There's a place, I think, in the book of Matthew in the Bible that says something about the spirit being willing, but the flesh is weak. You see, Tuchel himself said that Lukaku isn't ready. He said it. He said he wants to play, but he knows he can't play from the start.
True.
Because he's still coming back. That's what he said pre-match.
Yep.
Then we've got the whole Alonso issue, Chilwell issue. Then I believe we are overplaying an aged but fantastic and highly professional Thiago.
Centre-back, yeah.
Yeah, and Rudiger's tired. He's played twice a week for about the past how many months? We've got injured players on the bench. We've got unfit players on the bench. We've got injured players on the field. We've got unfit players on the field. And the best 3 players on the field today were players that have managed to get some rest, which is Mount, Ziyech and Havertz. Now, that doesn't take away from the fact that I think there is a bit of a problem with Lukaku, because you don't have to be fit to not stand behind defenders when there's an offensive play going on. He's always hiding in the box behind the defense instead of looking for space. But that's another matter. Yeah, Mendy dropped a howler, unlike him. So because it's rare, we can forgive him for that. And of course, I don't think it's a good enough excuse for Jorginho to be thinking of stats. If you find you're going to put your goalkeeper in problems in a game like this, there's always Rose. The issue at Chelsea, which is an issue I've always taken up with the fan base, is the issue of the squad. We are too fond of, at the beginning of a season, when players are fit, send him to get game time. Sell him, get rid of him, sell him, get him out, get him out. This is a problem. Man United have players sat in the stands, nobody says anything. Man City has players sat in the stand, nobody says anything. Liverpool have players sat in the stand, nobody says anything. Chelsea have one player sat on the bench and the entire fan base is talking about game time in August. This is the Premier League. This is the top tier of the Premier League. We will have this. We will have a pile-up of games. We will have injuries. We will have suspensions. And players will then have their opportunity and this said game time coming in fresh. I remember back in, was it about 2008, when Branislav Ivanovic, after having sat on the bench and in the stand for months after he was bought, eventually got his opportunity on a Champions League night against Liverpool at Anfield and scored 2 goals and made the right back position his own. This is what you do at the top. We are, I believe, we contribute to this. And people like Tuchel and that, whether we want to believe it or not, it gets to them. And so they start getting rid of your Dejan Sterlings. They start getting rid of your Ethan
Billy Gilmore's.
Sorry?
Billy Gilmore's.
Well, Billy chose to go. That's why I don't mention him. But he was also influenced by the game time brigade, thinking it's better, the grass is greener on the other side. Thankfully, Cho wasn't. He was single-minded and he stayed back. And boy, look at the number of games he's got. Yes, he's not a left back. Yes, Alonso is a liability at left back. But had we kept Dejan Sterling, had we kept Ampadu, we'd be able to compensate for that. One, Rudiger wouldn't have to be playing 2 games a week for about month after month after month. 2, we'll be able to rest the mercurius Thiago, although I think a game like this he really needed to play because of what West Ham is like. And these guys are flexible. They could stand in at the left wing-back position until Chilwell gets back. So it is a matter of strength in depth. We don't have that strength in depth. We've got players, but we don't have the strength in depth. People like, what's his name, Saul, have proved themselves to just be a body. What's the other guy? The other midfielder. Oh my God, what's on with my brain today?
Guess?
No, Barkley.
Oh, Barkley.
He's the only other sort of reserve we have, but there's a question mark as to is he good enough? I believe Ruben had a fantastic game today. He was everywhere. But, that is the problem we've got, a lack of strength in depth. And so we are playing players that should probably still be resting. Lukaku probably needs a bit more rest, or slowly, because what his problem is funnily enough, game time. But he needs to be eased into matches. 10 minutes here, 20 minutes here to get himself back up to speed. And then we can address his positional ability. But the likes of Rudiger, Alonso shouldn't even be playing. Thiago needs a rest. We need to be able to rotate those. And at the moment, we can't. And then we wonder why they get a bit sluggish, why they make mistakes. Mendy today, well, it happens. He was due that, actually, because Mendy dribbles a bit too much in the back. So this should be a kick up the backside for him. That Rose is the answer when you're playing a team like West Ham. So we take it on the chin. This is the Premier League. There's many more games to come. We're still in it. Who knows what will happen with Man City and Liverpool today? I was on another channel. They were talking about them. Oh, they're going to win. No, who said that? It's the EPL. Don't be surprised. You wake up, you find that they've lost their games too. It can happen. And at some point, it will happen.
All right. Cheers, Bobby. Spot on a lot of these points. As usual for Bobby. We'll hear from the Podfather, and then we'll open the discussion to the panel. Podfather, give me your thoughts on the game, mate. I didn't say hello, so hello. Welcome to the stream.
That's all right. Hello, everybody. Yes, so in terms of today's game, I was really worried yesterday, but even I could have predicted how this game turned out. Although I like to say my prediction was coming through at halftime, and then Havertz gets injured, and then I think that's pretty much the key point in the game. So a lot of this comes down to the manager at that point for me, because the substitution that you make at that point is key. You bring on Lukaku, who I think most people would agree that he's not fit, but then that's down to the manager to decide. He's the one who sees him in training every day. So if he decides to play him for 45 minutes, then he has to take responsibility for that decision. That's not down to us as fans. We can shout till we're blue in the face about whether he's fit or not. But if the manager decides to pick him, knowing that he's going to play him for the whole second half of the game, then he has to take responsibility for his performance. So I thought that particular substitution was crucial. I think it affected the way our game played, because all of a sudden there wasn't that interchange of positions. What you get with Havertz is he drops deep, he goes wide, he plays 1-2s with players. So even if you kept Ziyech and Mount in the same position, you don't have those same interchanging. You don't have the same movement. You don't have the same patterns of play. So even though MDT says that he moved Ziyech and moved Mount, and all of a sudden that affected the game, which is true. But also I think a bigger part of that was having a static player up front who doesn't make runs, who doesn't really do that much combination play, who can interchange with them on the wings, who can really get involved in the build-up play, And yes, it's really worrying when you think of a lot of our buys. I think so. I mean, only time will tell whether that Champions League was almost like papering over the cracks. Because when you look at it, 100 million on Lukaku, was it 40 million on Werner, 70 million on Havertz, 35 million on Ziyech. So that's what 240 million there. And very little return in terms of goals and assists. The system and the best investment we made was the coach. In terms of actual money and a lot of, like I said, a lot of those players are not his. So it's hard to judge him, how he gets the best out of them and all that sort of stuff. I thought for me the key in the second half was a change of formation was needed. It clearly wasn't working. Just bringing on players and slowing them in like bringing on Pulisic and putting him at right wing back or left wing back, bringing on Cho left wing back. It just didn't make sense. At that point, it's like we need to change the formation, do something else. West Ham were very comfortable once it went to 2-2, just sitting back, cross the ball for Lukaku. It doesn't matter whether he's big, he's strong, whatever. We got 5 of them back here, and we're just gonna head it away. And the crosses weren't good either. I didn't see one really good cross from James pretty much all game. Callum came. A lot of them were like very floaty. I didn't see it. A lot of Ziyech's crossing, apart from the one from Mason Mount, whatever. A lot of them didn't beat the first man. Probably in terms of chance creation, I'd probably say Mason was our best player in the game. I thought he had a variety of ways of creating chances, and I thought Ruben too was very, very good in like the ball before the ball. In terms, and this is 2 defensive mistakes from Rudiger on the bounce. I thought I still hold him a lot responsible for it. I know a lot of people feel like Loftus-Cheek was like really at fault for the Watford one, which he was, but I also think Rudiger's defending when Dennis had him going into the box was poor, and today he was a bit lackadaisical. Yeah, but having said all that, the first 20, 30 minutes, I thought we were going to run away with the game. That we were back to our patterns, playing, had them in their half. They had nothing for us going forward. We had them pressed in. We were passing. We were moving. It looked.
You said the Havertz injury was the change, the turning point of the game. I don't think it was. I think the turning point of the game was literally the Jorginho pass to Mendy, because yes, I know, but the issue was Mendy lost focus because conceding a goal would demoralize a goalkeeper, but when it's your fault, that's even worse, because had he have booted that ball out straight away, it'd have been a different scenario. And you saw the way he started to react after that. Every time the ball was anywhere near him, first thing he would do is he would bang it and clear it. The last goal that he conceded, I don't think it was a deflection. I think, however, it wasn't even a shot; it was a cross that curled into the goal. And to be fair on Mendy, the actual trajectory of the ball wasn't to the top corner. It was it looks like it was going to go across the face of the goal, but then it started to curve the other way, and he tried to adjust, and he almost saved that. So Mendy's performance today, and like Bobby was saying, he has been playing so well that he was bound to have an off night, and tonight was an off night. The issue I have is this: are we starting to see the players, the strength, the motivation, the determination of our players starting to go down in a different direction right now? Because, to be fair, we were having bad performances at the start of the season, but we were always able to get the results. Now it seems like things are starting to turn. We're having bad-ish, average-ish kind of performances, but we're not able to grind out the results. This is only the second defeat of the season, so we don't want to look talk in a way that we've had 3 losses on the trot. No, but are we starting to see things going in the wrong direction? And should we start to address them now before it starts to get any worse? And from this point onwards, I'm going to open the discussion to everyone. So Podfather, finish off your statement, and then once Podfather finishes, anyone who wants to respond can go right ahead.
Yeah, I think every team has showed deficiencies throughout the season. I don't think we're unique in that. When you look at it that way, I thought even if you looked at the game the other day, Man City were very lucky to get the win against Aston Villa. Two or three goal line clearances were the reasons they won that particular game. Liverpool right now obviously have hit like a real stride and a massive run of form. So they're probably the only ones who look like super efficient at the moment. For me, I just see it as I just like to see a bit of tactical flexibility. I would like to see, because before he came, people told me he wasn't wedded to this formation. It wasn't about 3 at the back and 5. That's not the way he's played throughout his whole career. He's played with a 4. He's played with 3. He's played different systems or whatever. And I think a lot of the players in the squad that probably don't get as much game time and people think should be rotated and used more are not suited for this particular formation. And while this formation is great and should be our go-to, I think there are times to change. And I think when Lukaku is not fit and he's not going to give you that sort of movement or whatever, just putting him as a like for Havertz, for me, it affected everybody's game in that forward line. One of the reasons why you're able to keep West Ham quiet or back and is constantly having them under pressure and keeping them in their own half. It was comfortable for them in the second half. They literally just put everybody behind the ball. Nobody really made runs. Everything was from distance. Everything was blocked. Everything was crossed and headed away. Like, it was easy. And then that allows them to play their game, which is all about second balls, head downs. Like, that's what they do. Like, so for any of us that have been surprised, I don't think Tuchel was surprised. But they're hitting the ball long to to Antonio, and then somebody's going for the knockdown. Like that's what they do. Like anybody that's watched West Ham knows that's what they do. So I just think it was lack of, tactical adaptation in that second half. I felt like there were different things. I don't like to see like for like substitutions. It just doesn't work a lot of the time.
Yeah. All right. Before we get more opinions onto this, lads. I know we lost the game. But it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault that we lost the game. So you can hit the like button. You can still enjoy the stream, even though we did lose the game. So please hit the like button. We've only got 25 likes and over 115 people on the stream. So can we get at least 50 likes? I don't know. I mean, it wasn't my fault we lost the game. Don't take it out on me. Who wants to jump in?
Mo.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got to say, it's good to listen and hear how people feel. But what we're hearing from the Podfather is a complaint and not an analysis. He's not taken into any consideration the depth of injuries within the squad, of the players on the field, the lack of the right type of depth in the squad. This is what the problem is. It's not that the players are not motivated. They can't be motivated because they're not physically able to at the moment. If anybody says that Rudiger, who is usually on point, was sluggish, well, as I said earlier, of course he's sluggish. He's been playing 2 games a week for goodness knows how many months. It's been creeping up. These things creep up. These guys are human beings, not robots. We talked about them as if there's some sort of robotic machine. They are human. Part of managing them is managing their humanity. It's got nothing to do with the system. The system was perfect. West Ham didn't play us off the park. They got lucky today. So that is all there is to it. They got blooming lucky today.
But we didn't have any chances in the second half. That was the system. The system stopped working. All of a sudden, we didn't have any chance creation.
The system stopped working because the players were not able to play it.
No,
but not enough physically fit players. Who would you put on instead of those players?
Like I said, I wouldn't have brought in Lukaku in the first place. I would have stuck with
Havertz.
With the false 9. Yes, I would have found a way to play either Pulisic there, who's been playing there for a couple of games.
Pulisic did come on.
No, but he came on as but he didn't come on as a false 9. He came on as like a winger or right back. I'm talking about the interchanging of positions that was getting us our chances in the first half. Wasn't through the striker. It wasn't Havertz getting chances. It was interchanging of positions. It was Mount popping up in the box. It was Ziyech. It was.
Why do you think that is? Because
in the first
players, they were the fittest.
No, in the first 20-30 minutes, you could clearly see that West Ham were not on it at all. They weren't running. They were looking sluggish. They weren't their usual self. Yeah.
They were sluggish 70% of the game.
Who?
West Ham were sluggish 70-80% of the game.
No. The first 20-30 minutes. The second half, a lot of their play was by design. They wanted it that way. You come, you have all the pressure, you have all the ball. We're just gonna hit it long. He's gonna head it down, and we're gonna get chances from there. We'll get 2-3 chances from there, and that's it. They're not looking to compete on possession. That's not their game. But in the first half, they couldn't even get out. They couldn't do that. We were winning all the second balls.
Why do you think
the Podfather, you're missing what Bobby is trying to tell you. The first half, the reason why we have more energy, because the players, they cannot do it for 90 minutes. They've been exhausted. Rudiger, all these players. So we could exert a lot of energy in the first half. And also the front 3 are the fittest players right now in our squad, apart from Thiago, because they've had rest. They've recovered from their injuries and they're back. But the other players, like Reece James is playing with an injury. That's the thing. We're missing. He's playing with an injury right now.
Okay.
We don't have the amount of players to substitute for this player because they lack energy. They can do it for 60 minutes, maybe 50 minutes, but they can't go 90.
Okay, so you know what you do when you're 2-1 up? You keep the ball. You don't go forward. You don't press. You don't run hard. You don't keep on trying to win the game 3 or 4. You keep possession. There are many teams that have the struggle second half, go tired or whatever. They have a system and a way of dealing with it, because the coach when it comes to centre backs, nobody has as many good quality centre backs as us. All this talking about injury and we're tired, it just sounds ridiculous to me. Yeah, Liverpool.
It's not talk. It's a reality. Don't
no,
say
but it's a reality for every team. It's a reality for every team in the league. West Ham have played the same centre backs in every game, Europa League and League for the whole season. They can't rotate anybody.
No, Job wasn't playing.
Our defenders.
Masueka only played 3 games this season. So their players like 3 games in the league this season. So
Listen,
you can't say that because
they've had 3 defenders go down with injuries, in the last 2 or 3 games because they're knackered. The guys that come on, Dawson, Masueka, don't even play. They're not good enough to lace our boots. All this is excuses.
I want to hear from
lost to Wolves.
I want to hear from Julius, and then I want to hear from Gabriel, who's just jumped in. Go ahead, Julius.
No, I'm just responding to Godfather. West Ham beat Brighton, lost to Wolves, lost to City. That's their first win in a while. They've dropped in form.
That's my point. They're tired too.
They're tired too. But what I'm trying to say, West Ham today were bad. What annoys me today, I didn't think West Ham played good today. We gifted them a goal. There's the second goal or third goal. I think there was the second goal, that lucky goal that they scored. That was pure luck. And in my opinion, I'm calling out for Lukaku today because I don't want to criticize Mendy. I don't want to criticize Jorginho. They've been amazing most of the season. I'm calling out Lukaku because he is lazy. I don't care. He's injured. He's not injured. I don't care.
Julius. I mean, you want to call out Lukaku? Fine, call out Lukaku. I said Lukaku has been lacking, but Lukaku has been injured, and Lukaku has just come back from an injury. So we need to cut him a little bit of slack. I mean, he had a poor game, no doubt, poor game. But we need to cut him a little bit of slack. And again, when I've got Mendy on my thumbnail, and I said Mendy has had a bad game, but I'm not saying Mendy is bad. I'm just saying bad game today. Mendy had a bad game today, and it happens to everyone. And to be fair, to have one bad game, in 50 plus games, I can live with that. But I want to hear from Gabriel, and then I got to Eric Blue, who's just jumped in. Oh, and then I got to Carlo Cudicini, who's just jumped in. Gabriel, mate, welcome to the stream, and I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, hi guys.
Hi, are we being too harsh on the lads? I mean, I don't know, are we?
I'll be honest with you. The more I watch,
You're breaking up. I can't hear you. Start again.
Okay, one second.
Gabriel, start again.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yep.
I was saying the more I watch these type of streams, I start to question whether I understand football, because what I saw, I didn't see a particularly awful performance.
Okay.
It was just bad luck, maybe individual errors, and I see it within the context of a pattern over the last 3-4 games where we're going for a bit of a bad patch. Games we should have won, we didn't. Games we should have lost, we did.
Okay, good.
So,
good.
Yeah. So if I can I continue? Yeah.
Yeah. Continue.
Yeah. So, also, I think if we think about the game, West Ham are fighting for top 4. They've been a great, team so far. Compare the Liverpool game with West Ham compared to us. I honestly think we had more control of the game compared to when Liverpool played them. But unfortunately, we were winning the game on 2 occasions, and it was just through luck or bad luck, on our part, with the late winner, and obviously the error that led to the penalty and etc. So I don't know. I think maybe obviously emotions run high, but let's see. As I made a few comments earlier in the stream, let's wait until the end of the evening, because I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool and Man City drop points, and then it will have a completely different perspective.
Sure. Okay, Gabriel, I want to ask you this question. If let's just talk in hindsight or in theory, like in a different dimension. Had that third goal not have been scored, and a cross came into West Ham's box, deflected off Lukaku's head, and went in the back of that net, and we had won 3-2, but everything else that took place in that game was as it is, would that have been a good performance tonight?
Within the context of playing West Ham, you know, at the end of the day, it's points, isn't it? Dust ourselves down. I'm not saying we played brilliantly. I'm not saying.
Sorry, Gabriel. As a result, it would have been perfect. But as a performance,
Yeah. So let me maybe correct myself. I'm not saying we played brilliantly and we deserve to win. But I don't think that it was like we got smashed by West Ham and that we were completely awful. You know, there were isolated periods of the game where we performed badly. But overall, again, going back to what I said earlier, we're going for a bit of a bad patch. You know, injuries to players. Lukaku's trying to be integrated back into the team. You know, there's definitely something about us going forward that doesn't quite compute. You know, defensively, the midfield generally, that's where the majority of our goals have been, 78% or whatever the stat is. So, but nonetheless, as it stands, so without sugarcoating it, as it stands now, we're still top of the league. And I think I mentioned in the comment earlier in the stream, you know, let's get the bad results out the way now, and then we're going to hopefully regroup, and then we'll go into the Christmas period, and the Christmas and New Year period of games is always a crucial part of the season. So yeah, I'm disappointed, but I don't know. As I said, I don't know, all this questioning players here and there, and I don't know, sometimes it's a bit too micro rather than seeing the sort of macro picture.
Okay. All right. Cheers for that, Gabriel. Well, I'm sure that the rest of the lads want to address those comments, and we will address those comments. But I want to hear from Eric and Couch before we do that. Eric, welcome to the stream. How you doing?
Well, I'm not feeling too happy right now, but I don't even know where to start. Where do I start? The most disappointing thing was the individual errors. Like I think Gabriel was saying, that was the worst part of what we did. The individual errors and the fact that we didn't control the game. You know, people were telling me that Jorginho, helps us control the tempo, but there was none of that today. He didn't. There was no control whatsoever of that match. So yeah, I'm not sure it worked out in that sense today. Jorginho didn't really have much of an impact. I don't think he did anything well at all. And then he made that mistake. Mendy obviously made a mistake as well. Should have just kicked the ball out, and then we concede. And it would be fair enough if we tried. Obviously, the performance was better than the previous game, but it would be understandable if we did what we should have done. We did what we were supposed to do, but maybe like the third goal, they just scored some free goals, or they just were a little bit better than us, and we lost because of that. We were very bad. I don't think West Ham were as good as they've been this season. This wasn't one of their best games, but they did what they were supposed to do, and they got the win in the end. By hook or by crook, they won the game fair and square. And I can't be looking at other teams. I can't look at Man City and Liverpool and be like, oh, this gives it more perspective because they also drop points. I just don't see it like that. I just can't, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So we have to focus on ourselves. We have to focus on the performances have to improve. It doesn't matter if City and Liverpool lose today. If we then go to the next game and then we perform the same way, we can't. There's no point looking at these other teams and hoping that they drop points as well to make us somehow feel better. That we not only did we not get 3 points, we didn't even get a point. We have to focus on getting those 3 points for ourselves, making sure that we do everything we can to win this title. But unfortunately, I don't think we're going to win the title. Realistically,
Wow.
I don't see it.
Coach, relax, coach.
And it's not just.
Eric hasn't been on my stream for a little while, so he's allowed to drop a couple.
He was on yesterday.
I know, but I'm allowing him to drop a couple of bombs. Go on, Eric, continue.
It's not even a bomb, because you can't tell me that we've been performing too well recently. I mean, there have been a lot of matches this season that have not been good. We haven't performed well in a lot of games. So I call it reactionary, but this game, the previous game, the game before that, I don't think we played well in any of those games. This was probably our best match, and we had 2 individual errors. And I'm not just saying now.
You know what? I'm getting concerned. I'm sorry, Eric. I'm getting concerned because I think, everyone watched a different match, man. I mean, Gabriel watched a different match. I watched a different match. You watched a different match. I mean, I don't know what match you guys will be watching, man.
We went bad. I'm not saying we're bad today, but the individual, you can't afford.
Bad today. We were bad today, Eric. Today.
Yeah.
You see, normally, we have a good performance with a couple of bad, a couple of players having a bad game.
Yeah.
Today we had a bad performance, but a couple of players had a good game. I mean, today in the first half, our attackers, they had a really good game. You had Silva in defense. He had a really good game. We had what's his name, Loftus-Cheek, a decent game. So we had players who played well, but the overall performance of the team was lacking. You see, two players I was really looking forward to see a good performance from was Reece James and Jorginho. And unfortunately, both of them did not have the best of games. They weren't terrible, but they didn't have the best of games.
It's not even worth saying that we went to. I mean, yes, fair enough. It was a better performance than the previous game. It was, but it was bad because of the mistakes we made. You can't afford to make the kind of mistakes that we're making, and some individuals were making, individual errors and even errors as a team. We never had control of the game. We never had control of the match, and that was the biggest problem for me. If you score 2 goals, you expect to win. When we went 2-1 up, I thought we were going to see the game out. That's what we usually do. We usually control games and see them out. So that's the main thing. And I'm not just saying we won't win the title because of this match or even because of the last 3 matches. I'm saying it because I'm comparing us with the teams we are competing with. And I even said it before the season started that we would finish second. So it's not just, I didn't just change my mind now all of a sudden. So, but we'll see. Hopefully we can still do it. It's not, even if City and Liverpool win today, we still have the chance. It's not that many, they won't be like 5 points clear. So.
Of course. There's one thing I want to say about what you said, Eric, and that was, you said we shouldn't. You said Man City might do this, Liverpool might do this. We're still in a good position. Yes. The other teams around us are also going to drop points. They're not going to be winning every single game, but we need to look at ourselves and improve ourselves, and not look at the others, because all we can control is our team. All we can control is what we play. All we can control is what we do. The others, if they drop points, if they win, that's up to them. That's their ability. That's their targets, their achievements. Chelsea needs to look at themselves. We need to look at ourselves, and we need to perform. And we need to start to picking up some of the slack that has been happening. I think I read a comment, and I just want to double check it. 1 second. I think. Give me a second. All right, guys. Our last 5 matches. 1 defeat, 2 draws, and 2 wins. So we've only won twice in our last 5 matches. We dropped points in 3 of our last 5 matches. Okay, so it's not great. It's not great form, but it's good form. But it's not great form. To win the Premier League, we need to be playing better than this. Because we were starting to build a gap. We had 4 points gap, and then it's not there anymore. Before I get to everyone else, Couch Critic, Dennis, my man, welcome to the stream. Always a pleasure to have you on.
Thanks, man. It's a pleasure to be here once again, guys. And lots to talk about. First of all,
let's hear it. No.
I just wanted to touch on your last comment. You're talking about our form the last little while. I think there needs to be some context around that as well.
Sure.
Let's not forget that we have a lot of injuries right now. And when we're talking about squad performances, we're digging into the bottom of the barrel right now, trying to get performances out of guys that we didn't even expect to be considered in the starting 11. So that's something to take into consideration. The fact that we're not really losing a lot of these games and we're putting in performances where we probably could have won is positive for me. I don't think that we should be looking at these last 4 or 5 games as a negative, because we're still not anywhere near full fitness. We don't have Kovačić. We don't have Kante. Lukaku fits and starts trying to get back in. I'll get on him later, but there's all sorts of injuries. Chilwell, obviously, Reece James is coming back. So Jorginho, like we have a lot of injuries right now, and we're still treading water. We're still right there in contention with the likes of Liverpool and City. So I don't necessarily buy this thought that like, oh well, the results are falling, we're not going to win the title now because of what we're seeing right now. That's a myth, man. Like,
well said, Couch. Well said. Mate.
That's a myth. We still have a lot of games left to play. We're not even into the true Christmas fixtures yet, and everyone's going to drop points once we get our squad healthy again. Once we start playing the football that we know we can play, then you can start talking about like what the title race is going to look like. But having said that, I have to go into some, and let's not ignore. I also agree with what Gabriel was saying too. I thought we had some decent performances on the pitch today. I don't think that like this is a game that if we would have won it, nobody would have been surprised that we won this game, because we played well enough to win. We had some good performances. I thought Ruben Loftus-Cheek was much, much better than he was against Watford. Much, much better. And it goes back to what I was saying. And you put him next to a veteran, somebody that is a bit more of a leader in there. You see him he just blossoms and he becomes more of a presence on the pitch. I want to see more from him in the final third. I think that he can be more decisive there. But overall, I thought he had a really, really good game. Same for Mason Mount. Same for Ziyech before he was taken off. But having said that, I still think that Ziyech was tiring. Like when we were getting into those latter stages of the match, as much as he was playing well and we didn't want to see him come off, he was tiring. So there was a reason to take him off and bring on Pulisic and whatnot and Callum.
Fair enough.
So, but again, I want to get into this Lukaku thing because it's starting to like permeate all through the socials and stuff like that. And I think that there's something that we need to look at right now. Okay. What is the game plan when we're trying to play with Lukaku? What are we trying to do on the pitch? Like, it doesn't look like we have an idea of how to work with this guy yet. I know that he's not necessarily, he's not match fit. We're not seeing the best performances, from him in terms of like his fitness. But what is the game plan? Like we understand. I understand that we have to figure out, his movements and stuff like that. But we're not seeing anything that resembles any sort of like game plan being shaped around him, or even if him being like a useful cog in the system. If he's just going to be like a Giroud for us, like to stand up there, take up space, and then like play 1-2s off him, I want to see that. We're not even doing that. So I don't understand what the purpose is to have this 100 million pound player on the pitch and not have a game plan for him. It's starting to frustrate me. I'm not going to lie. Aside from that, like I said, Reece James didn't have a great game, but we had some good performances. And to be honest with you, we just got unlucky. This game, I'm still baffled that West Ham got a result out of it, because I don't think that we played bad. I thought that individual errors came to the fore today again, and that is down to fatigue. Let's be honest. Not just like physical fatigue, but mental fatigue. Mendy does not make mistakes very often. You're seeing him on the ball now. He's dwelling on it a little bit too long, not just for the error for the penalty, but also just when, we're playing it back to him. He's trying to be a little bit too tricky on the ball, and instead of just hoofing it down the field. And that's going to, it bit us in the ass today, but it's going to hurt more if he doesn't move the ball quickly again. Again, I just think that's just down to mental fatigue. He's not quite all there. But ultimately, I just think that this game just comes down to us not really being fully match fit and not completely switched on in crucial times. But like, I don't think that we played bad, and I don't think that our performances have sagged beyond the point of repair where we're not in the title race anymore. But again, that's me. I really do think that we need to figure out how to use Lukaku effectively, though. That's starting to become
Yeah,
big problem.
I just need to clarify.
Can I just
Wait, hold on,
add
hold on,
one
hold on.
thing really quickly,
Hold on,
please?
hold on, guys, just one thing. If you have any audio playing in the background, that is music, that is TV, please put yourself on mute because it's going to affect the stream. So if you ever have any background music playing, please put yourself on mute. Go ahead, Bobby.
Just quickly, I mean, Couch, you're spot on, mate. Dennis, you've knocked this one out the park. I mean, that is exactly what's happened today. It happens, and the others will drop points. You know, with this whole Premier League thing is far from over. But we need to, as Mo said, we need to focus on ourselves. We need to get over this. We know we're riddled with injuries, and we've got to somehow manage what we've got because there's nothing we can do about it. Certainly not till January. But the point I want to raise is about Lukaku. Lukaku is a problem. You know, I wasn't a fan of bringing him in. The only reason I got behind him was that he came in. And I know he's always had good things to say about the club. He's always loved the club. So I was like, okay, you're here. You know, it's all good. Let's get behind him. But, you know, in a way, you know, Couch is right. What are we going to do with this guy? Because for me, I would always have a Giroud. You would not see Giroud, although he was a hold-up ball man, knocking it down for others. When the ball is in the box, Giroud's not hiding behind defenders. Giroud is looking for space. But Lukaku is standing behind defenders and, you know, waiting for some miracle for the ball to find his feet or his head. That is just, I think that is down to the individual player. It's not good enough. Quite frankly, it's not good enough. And
I have to agree with that.
What's up?
Yeah, I disagree as well. But just to quickly go back to what Couch was saying, I just wanted to clarify what I was saying. I'm not saying we're out of the title race, but we can be close and miss out. That's what I'm saying. I think
Yeah, but
that
was always going to be the case, though. We were never going to run away with this.
But
can I just
what I'm
say
saying is,
one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Eric. You guys, if you look at this, the amount of injuries we have and the amount of unfit players, just imagine if you take that amount of players out of Liverpool or their starting players and do the same thing out of City. Do you think they will be even competing? Because Liverpool, they lost 3 players last season. Not if you take Kyle Walker, Cancelo, okay, because Cancelo is their Chilwell. Kyle Walker is our Reece James. And if you take them out of the City defense, they have a problem. If you take Rodri, Gundogan, and what's his name, Silva, Bernardo Silva, out of their midfield, they're in trouble. And take one of their attackers, they're in trouble. You cannot take 6 players out of the City team, they're starting 11, and they will not survive, Julian. So they will not. Do it the same. Liverpool last season, they lost only 2 or 3 players, and they collapsed. Chelsea, we've been managing this. People forgot this. This has been going on. Lukaku and Werner were injured. We played how many? 7 games in a row? They're tired. These players that are playing right now, some of them are tired because the other ones haven't recovered back on time. It's just now we having Ziyech and Mount back, and Havertz is coming back, and then he's injured again today. So we have to realize that some of the players that are playing, like Rudiger, like Thiago, like even Jorginho, they're on the red right now. Reece James is playing with injury. Chelsea fans should know that he is playing because we don't have any other choice.
And whose fault
right
is
now,
that?
what we should hope for? No, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But right now, what we should be happy about? Imagine with all this injury, we're competing. Let's hope our players get back to fitness soon. That's all I'm hoping for. If we get back to fitness soon, I'm not scared. But until that, all we gotta try to do is just stay on their coattail. They will drop everybody. This is a Premier League.
You mentioned Rudiger, but we don't have a cover for Rudiger. He's always playing no matter what.
And it's a problem. It's a problem. But what are we gonna do? He's the only one we have in that position. We don't have anybody else unless. This is why I'm always against sending youth players on loan. I'm for sending players on loan when they're injured for them to go and recover. But I'm against sending youth players on loan. Give them chance. Tell them that, okay, you know what? Be a cover. Okay, look at Broha today. He's the guy that scored for Southampton. Lukaku is not fit. He shouldn't be in the squad. If we had Bro would have been the person that came in for Kai Havertz when he was injured. These are the things. Sometimes Chelsea board, they like money. They always send these players on loan to make 1 million there, 2 million there. The loan fees on these players. That's the problem.
Thank you very much.
We look at money too much.
No, but I think we're missing the point. Chelsea have a massive squad, and one of the reasons why you have to send those
Don't
guys.
say that.
No, but listen. Let me make my point first. Yes, one of the reasons why you have to send guys on loan is we have a much higher wage bill than Liverpool or Man United or these guys to just have guys on the bench sitting there. Even at the beginning,
pay 100 million for a striker that scores 15 goals a season. And that's how it is, right?
Well, no, but nobody predicted that. The thing,
Pod, we brought in a player that has only made 2 starts, and we're paying him 200 a week. Saul Niguez, we're paying him 190 a week.
Exactly, that's another one.
Doesn't make any sense.
No, but my thing is, I don't want to be Captain Hindsight. Yeah, everybody thought we were going to beat Man United. Nobody thought we were going to struggle against Watford, and everybody on this panel yesterday had the prediction that we'll beat
I
West
thought we
Ham.
would struggle against.
So all of us know, but when we all had to predict the actual score, it was still us winning. So all of a sudden we've lost these two games, or we've drawn.
I wasn't here yesterday.
I wasn't here yesterday.
Hold on.
Yeah.
We are fans. We don't have the information that the club has. We don't have the information that the manager has, the board has, Marina has. They have information. They have a better understanding and are able to make better decisions and foresee the outcomes better than we do. We are making these judgments based on what we know. Now, if they are in the correct position, then they should know that going into a season with only one out-and-out striker is problematic. Sending Broha out on loan was a massive mistake. Okay, now the situation with Gilmour, yes, Bobby was quite right. Gilmour actually requested. Hold on, let me finish. Gilmour actually requested to be sent out on loan.
Yeah.
We've got players that give the squad depth. Now we are at the start of the season. We knew we were going to have a lot of fixtures. We are in 100 different competitions and titles and trophies, and we want to win as many of these as we can. Now we have a whole bunch of players that went out on loan that shouldn't have. We should have at least given ourselves the opportunity to strengthen our squad. If Mr. Palmieri, Billy Gilmour and others actually requested to go out because they wanted to get more playing time, let them go, but bring in players in their place. Strengthen. Right now we have Marcus Alonso and Ben Chilwell are the only players that can play as left wing back position. That's not enough. We have realistically only Reece James as our right wing back because Azpilicueta is not really a right wing back. These are issues. We put ourselves in this position.
Yep.
One striker, one right wing back, 2 left wing backs, and even in defense. We were lucky. We were lucky that Chalobah turned out to be a good player because we didn't even plan for that. Okay, we were going for Koundé. We were putting ourselves in a very delicate situation with that transfer as well. So the team, the club needs to plan ahead better. We as fans, we have the luxury of being optimistic, being we're gonna beat West Ham. We're gonna beat Oli and put Paul Scholes in his place. We can talk that way because we're fans. We're not the ones that are in that boardroom on that training field and know what is exactly going on. They are, and they should know better than this. Carry on, Pod.
This is what I'll say, Kasim. Yeah, most teams only have 2 players per position. So to have two left wing backs, that's pretty normal. Most people have 2 left backs. They have 2 right backs. They have 2 centre backs for specific positions. That's pretty normal. Yeah. Wait, are you talking about in terms of like we only have 1 striker? So do Man City.
I'm talking about Chelsea coming into the season, knowing that we have so many fixtures and so many games.
No, but
and so many players. Pod, we came in. I mean, we let go. How many players did we sell and send out on loan? I think it was in double figures. Am I right? We sold and we sent out on loan double figures.
Half of the players we let go. I never even made I hardly made an appearance for Chelsea. We're talking about Broha who had never played in the Premier League. You know what I mean? Like, all this is hindsight. We look back now and say, oh yeah, he's good enough. He would have done this, done that. But he had never played at this level of football. You know, would he have been coming off the bench before Werner? Would he have been coming off the bench before Havertz? He wouldn't. He would have been fourth or fifth choice striker.
You're going round in circles, mate.
No. You're not listening. I'm saying that.
Complaining.
I'm not. No. Listen. Wait. So Kazim just complained about the squad and the way it's run by the club, but I'm complaining. What are you talking about? He just complained about all the different things and how the club should have planned better with the loans and the sales. So how am I the one complaining by defending that and saying no, it's not that? Because every team in the top three only has one striker. We're talking as if our squad is bare. Come on, we've had injuries. Yes, we've been unlucky in the last month. But De Bruyne has hardly played for Man City.
Let him finish.
De Bruyne has hardly played for Man City. Against PSG, that's played Zinchenko in midfield. Yeah, Ferran Torres was supposed to be like the in and out striker. He's been injured as well. Every team has had injuries. Firmino is out till January. The Liverpool's only out and out number 9. Like, what are we talking about? Our squad, like, listen, if Mo Salah and Mane get injured tomorrow, who are they going to replace them with? And we're here complaining about our squad and the players and they're tired and this and all that. I'm like, come on, all these teams are going to have different fatigue at different times in the season. Yeah, right now we just have to take our medicine. This is the period we're going through. I'm not trying to make an overarching definition of what's going on, but if I suggest that we change the formation, it's not me criticizing the formation and say, oh, the system doesn't work, because I've seen Liverpool change their formation and their system is brilliant. I've seen Man City change their formation when they need to and their system is brilliant. Nobody's criticizing the system. But sometimes it calls for a different tactical approach. And if when we play with a centre forward, we don't create as many chances and we don't score as many goals, and then that centre forward gets injured, we start playing with a false 9, and we score 24 goals in that time, and everybody's shouting Cobham this and Cobham that. What does that say? It says maybe this system doesn't work as well with a number 9 because it hasn't worked consistently with a number 9 since the whole time the Tuchel has been here.
Just to tag, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I'll say this because we didn't have the full complement of the squad when we were scoring those goals as well. Reece James and Chilwell are crucial to anything we do. You're seeing now that Chilwell's out, we're struggling to score down. We're struggling to balance our squad because we don't have anything that's going down the left that's really effective. And then on the right side, Reece James is just coming back into it. So I agree with you for the most part. I don't think that we needed a bigger squad because, like, how much bigger is it going to be? Like, there's 25 guys on the roster right now. How much do you want? 40? Like, we're not going to do that, right? And to just have guys sitting there not making money. It's big enough.
Flip side. If you're not going to have a big squad, then you need to give yourself priorities. Don't put yourself in. For example, we have a League Cup game in a few days. Lose that game. Lose the Champions League. Focus on the Premier League.
I was telling you that the other day. Remember I was telling you that the other day. I was like, bin that competition.
But we shouldn't. We shouldn't do that.
We have injuries. You have to prioritize what it is that you need.
That's why you need to have a squad big enough to be able to overcome these injuries.
Honestly, how much bigger do you want the squad to be? Just answer me that. How much bigger do you need?
Tell me this. Reece James is out. Who do you play in his place?
Yep.
Who do you play in his place? Is he good enough?
No.
Tony Rudiger is out. Who do you play in his place?
Christensen.
Malang Sarr.
Yeah.
Malang Sarr's not good enough. Christensen already covers a position. Okay, we don't have enough. I mean, I get that.
You're saying we don't have quality. You're saying that we don't have quality, but it's not the numbers then, right?
We don't have. Of course, we don't have quality.
Kasim.
Hold on. If we were to change formations, if we were flexible in different areas, you see, this is the point I'm trying to make here. We need to adjust. We need to address and adjust, because if we are only playing one particular formation, if we are only using one particular system, and the players that are in that system, we can't have this diversity and this flexibility. Sorry, not diversity, flexibility. We don't have the flexibility. We have to play 2 number 10s. We have to play 2 holding midfielders. We have to play 2 wing backs and 3 defenders every single game. Therefore, we have to have players that cover these positions, and they have to be quality because we are Chelsea. When we have ambitions to win the title, okay. Therefore, we need to have enough depth in our squad, and when I say depth, I mean quality depth.
Okay, so what do you do with Azpilicueta then? What do you do with him?
We were talking.
What do you do with him and his wages? What do you do with like
what did we
Alonso
do?
and his
What
wages?
did we do? What did we do with the captain, Gary Cahill, when he became too old to play?
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about this? Because
we put him aside. We put him aside.
You remember when AVB was in charge and he put Maluda, he put Anelka, and like I can't remember who else. He put them in the youth squad because our squad was too big, and everyone complained about that. It's like that's poor management. We can't do that.
Why
That's
did we
exactly
get
what you're asking
Saul
for.
then? Couch,
That's
why
exactly
did we
what
get
you're asking
Saul?
for. Just let me finish my point. I'll get to that. Let me just finish my point. This is exactly what you guys are talking about. You're talking about making a squad so big that you're just going to disrupt the balance and chemistry within the squad because you're going to have guys left out like that shouldn't be for the most part, sent down to the youth system like Lewis Baker is right now. Like that's not good for squad management. Like, and to be honest with you, Tuchel's already said that in the preseason. He's like, I don't want a squad that big. I want a smaller squad so I can manage the people that are within it. Like he doesn't want to have like 28 guys that he has to like, try and manage all these personality types and wages and whatnot. So I don't necessarily think it comes down to squad type. What you're talking about for me is whether or not we have the right sort of personalities or skill in the squad. Like we need another Reece James is what you're saying. We need another Chilwell. And that's just unrealistic though, isn't it?
No.
Can I come after Carl finish, please?
I want to hear Bobby. I want to hear Bobby, and then I'll hear MDT. Go on,
it's
Bobby.
not unrealistic, Dennis. And indeed, what we are saying, we're not saying, stockpile players like your Man United and your Man Cities that somehow managed to get away with it. We're not saying that at all. We're just saying have the right players in the squad. We're just saying that those with the privy to the information that perhaps we as fans may not have, but still manage to see, cannot see the sense in some of the people we have put in the squad. Vis-a-vis Niguez, vis-a-vis keeping Malang Sarr and getting rid of Dejan Sterling or Ampadu. It makes no sense. I think there's a bit of a money grab going on there because they could get them on some on good terms of a loan. They kicked them out and decided to make weight with people that are indeed make weights, because fans start kicking off when they see Ampadu sat on the bench or when they see Cho sat on the bench in August, forgetting that in November, that's when their time will come, like now. That's what the problem is. It's not about having too many players. It's about having the right players. Depth of squad does not mean number of squads. No. It means the ability to have players that can come in and fill in. And at the moment, that's where we're falling short.
I agree with you, but then what do you do with it? I just got to finish this one. Okay.
MDT, you're good? You're good for a couple of minutes, MDT?
Yes. Let me just, Couch, sorry. One thing I want to say is nothing to do. I'm not talking about first teamers or whatever. I'm just looking at even Man City right now. What Pep Guardiola did, he kept 6 of their youth team players who were like 19, whatever, didn't send them on loan this season. You know why? To give them that, because since the COVID, players are playing too many games. If you see, he's playing them. What Chelsea does, we send them because of our youth players are on demand. We send them on loan and take loan fees out of it. That's what I was saying. I'm not talking about buying players. I'm talking. That's why right now our youth team in the PL2 is struggling, because we sent all of the best players and sold some out on loan or sold them. It's money thing. That's what I'm saying. If you keep some of those players that are on loan, they will be playing both at the PL2 and also when there's injury, they will come for covered. Liverpool is doing it. City is doing it. All the team, even Juventus is doing it. Bayern Munich are doing it. They have players that are playing for both teams. The youth team, which is their second team, and the main team. They're not all the players. They're like 19, 20, or 18, 19. But we've sent all our best ones out because of loan fees. Because the loan fee is the money thing. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about other aspects. I'm talking about why are we sending our youth team players?
Livramento would have been.
Yeah. That was my argument. My argument is not about anything else.
Yes,
but
he was
Livramento
sold.
didn't want to stay. Well, like, what are we talking about here?
No, I'm not talking about Livramento. I'm talking about our youth team right now. They might get relegated for the first time in 20 years or whatever. Because of
Couch,
what you're talking about is a philosophy change, right?
Couch, if you were Livramento and you were promised first team football on a rotational basis at Chelsea,
you can't promise that.
No, why can't we promise that?
Because right now we have Reece James in his position and Azpilicueta. So how are you going to get him minutes? You say that now, but he's a club captain.
Play him as a right centre back.
Okay,
I
hear what you're saying.
You need to have that quality. You need to have that quality.
I hear what you're saying, but if the guy doesn't believe that he's going to get into the squad, it's the same thing with Tarek Lamptey, right? Tarek Lamptey left for the same reasons. He sees Reece James in front of him.
John Terry spent a whole season on the bench as club captain. There's no reason Aspi couldn't do the same.
So did Cahill.
He is.
The manager rates Aspi. That's why he plays him as much as he can whenever he's fit in big games, whenever he's had it runner games. There are lots of times where Reece James was playing well last season, and he still brought Aspi in because he rates him. He rates his performance. He rates his leadership. He rates him as captain. He had big games for us last year as well. All of a sudden, we're all talking like the guy's finished. He's done. He should just be happy to just be a rotational player.
Mourinho rated JT. He still kept him on the bench for a whole season. So don't even go there.
No, it was Conte. It wasn't JT. It was Conte. JT played under Mourinho. It was Conte who came in, didn't trust him in a 3. He was slow. He was pretty much
Bobby is right. Mourinho's second season, he benched JT. Yes.
Only for 2 games. Only for 2 games against Man City and somebody else who had a terrible.
No, he benched him most of that season.
No,
he benched him most of that season.
No,
to be honest, he did.
He did. You can check his stats for how many games he played that season. He and Cahill.
Under Gosinic. When Hindick came. I'm talking
about Gosinic. I'm just talking about Jose. When we won the title, when he came back his second time, he played majority of the games. Cahill and
Jose. The season after, not the season of the title. The season after.
Yeah, that's when everybody's form dropped, and we had a terrible season. But what Jose used to do?
Irrelevant. This is irrelevant, and we're going into specifics. It is horses for courses. This season, we could have done with our academy graduates staying back. We sent too many out on loan. Brohart is a perfect example. He didn't need to go out on loan. We sent him out on loan. So that's where the problem is, because now it's biting us. We're in a pickle. We've got too many tired players and too many injured players and too many players trying to come back to fitness. That's what resulted in what we saw today.
In my opinion,
sorry, Podpod. Can I say this? I do think that what we're talking about is a philosophical difference. You guys are saying that you'd rather have the youth just like play in the Premier League 2 and in the reserves, and the squad is saying, like the club is saying, we want these guys to get the best level of football that they can get. If they can play at a higher level, then we're going to send them out on loan so they can get to that higher level. That's not about right or wrong. It's just how you look at philosophically. You think that they're better suited to sit in the squad and not play a lot of games. Whereas the club is saying, I want them to go out and play football, professional football. We're preparing these guys to play professional football. It's not best suited for them to be sitting on the bench and watching all the time. That's the difference right now. And to beyond that, we still have a huge squad. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, yes, we are injured and there's a lot of injuries, but there's still a huge squad here.
Amazing.
So that's the difference.
All right, one second. Listen, people, we've been streaming for an hour and a half, and we've had on average 130 people in the stream, and we've only had 51 likes. Again, it wasn't my fault Chelsea lost today. All right, so if you're watching the stream, you're enjoying the debate, hit that like button. And if you're new, subscribe to the Blue Lounge. All right, again, it was not my fault we lost the game. And we're discussing it, we're debating it, we're having a good discussion, a healthy debate with a difference of opinion. It's good. It's good that we are having this discussion. Do we need to make some acquisitions in January, lads? Do we need to buy some players in January?
Left wing back, without question.
Haaland.
Haaland. Nah. Do we need to address this?
More,
left
can I
wing back,
answer
right
your
wing back,
question?
a striker. Go ahead, Julius. You haven't said much. Go ahead.
I think what we need to do this January is not buy players. Is we need to do something similar to what we did with Hakim Ziyech. Try to plan early.
Explain. Yeah.
You see how we finalized Ziyech deal? It was brilliant. Before even the summer, we had the deal wrapped up. Summer window came, done, signed. It was brilliant.
Sure.
What we need to do, in my opinion, this January is we need to plan ahead for the summer, because there is not, realistically, we're not going to be able to get the right personnel for this in January. So I'd rather not spend money on rubbish. I want us to actually start targeting proper players for next summer, so we don't end up having panic buys like we did last year. That's what I would like us to do. And I want to go back to respond to Dennis. Dennis, you have made very good points. I agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, what you're missing is when Mo mentioned Saul Niguez. Why did we end up sending a couple of our youth players that are actually playing Premier League level football right now to go buy a player like Saul Niguez and pay him $200 a week? That's like $9.5 million a year. That's other than the loan fee.
£5 million.
Yeah, that exactly. That doesn't make any sense. That's the problem.
Again, okay, Julius, and I agree with you. There probably was a little bit short-sightedness there, because I don't necessarily see the value of Saul Niguez in the squad at all. I don't know what he brings to the squad. Yes, we didn't get every decision right. That was definitely one that is glaring right now. But let's not overreact right now. We're still right in the thick of this title race. We're still going to be qualifying for the Champions League next round. There's still a lot of good things happening at this club right now. While I do agree with you that Saul Niguez, I would love to see him go back to Atletico Madrid and give Billy Gilmore a chance. I would love to see something like that, but it's just not going to happen right now. And going forward, you mentioned something about Ziyech. You want to see something like how we did Ziyech. Do you realize that the same thing that you were like chastising Marina for is exactly the same thing that happened with the Ziyech deal, right? They just took too long to get that over the line and the window closed. That's what happened. Frank specifically wanted him in the January window, and they took too long to get that deal done. And then right after the window closed. Exactly.
Coach. Bruce Buck actually announced him in one of the press conferences with Frank Lampard. And Frank Lampard turned around and said, he knows something that I don't know, because it wasn't.
I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
So that in and of itself is not. I think we need to be proactive in this window. I'm just going to be honest. I think we need to be proactive because we're in the position right now where we could win the title, we could win the Champions League if we can find a replacement at left wing back. We have to find somebody that can complement what we do.
The thing is, Couch, yes, it didn't go to plan, but it worked out good in regards to the Ziyech situation. Yes, they didn't do enough work and get it over the line in the winter transfer, but they did the work. They did the legwork, and I think what Julius is alluding to is we need to start putting a plan from this transfer window in respect to who we're going to bring in the summer. Now, I know it's a little bit problematic, to think that far ahead with, half the season still to play, but you should start to scout and look around. And to be fair, I think Chelsea do that, but I don't think they do enough of the legwork when it comes to the transfers. And we always seem to be doing things last minute, and that for me is problematic. I think we need to address the shortfalls of the team in January. And do we bring in signings? Do we bring in loans? I think we should possibly look into acquiring a few players on loan in January rather than buying them straight out, because I think we need to fix the left wing back position. I think we need to bring in another defender, and also I want to see us bring in a striker. And these
would you bring in first team or bench players? Would you bring somebody who's going to challenge to start, or
no.
somebody who's going to just complement the squad?
Ideally, I want to bring in players who can rotate, but at the same time, to be able to, you see, the best loan is a loan that I can convert into an acquisition in the summer. So if I bring in a player in January with an option to buy for a set amount and give them that opportunity to prove themselves, because if you're playing in Portugal, as an example, playing in Portugal, and you're given a chance to play for a Premier League team and 6 months to prove yourself, and if you do prove yourself, you have a chance to sign for that team. You're gonna take it. You're gonna come and try to impress, and that's the kind of transfer. That's the kind of loan deal I want to see. I want to see players who can compete. They don't have to be players that are known. They can be players that are trying to build their reputation, build their name. I'm not saying let's bring in a Lautaro Martinez, or let's bring in a Dybala or a Chiesa. Those players, if you want to bring them in, we can try to bring them in the summer. Let's bring in a player that can compete, that can that has a point to prove, that wants to make a name for himself. And Chelsea is a good platform to do that. And I think that's what we should do in the winter transfer, bringing in a few loans. And also, I think we made mistakes. I know. In regards to Livramento, and he wanted to go Tarek Lamptey. They wanted to have an opportunity to play first team football and to prove themselves. But this is where the club comes in, and the club tries to mold these players and these contracts and motivate them to stay. I mean, what's his name? Cho wanted to leave. But Lampard came in and spoke to him and told him, I will give you this, I will do this for you, and he signed that contract, and he's with us now.
They showed him the money. Players, is what they did.
Show them the money. I would rather show them the money than show it to Saul Niguez. But I'd rather show the money to Rudiger than show it to what's his name, Delict or Koundé. Show this guy the money. He's done it. He knows what it's about. I don't need to bring in Koundé and give him a season or so to adjust. I have a player who's already adjusted, who already knows the game.
No, that's a fact. We already know. That's a fact. Yeah.
I think for Cho, the easiest thing. Sorry, MDT. For him, he knew he had a clear path into the team. One, because we had the transfer ban, and Eden left. I think these young players these days, they're totally different mentality to how they were 10 years ago. I think football in general is different. A lot of players are running on their contracts, and they're not just going to hang around at 18, 19, 20 and get to 23, and then all of a sudden it's like getting first team games. A lot of them feel like they're good enough now at 19, 18. And they think, and it's no disrespect to Chelsea. It's like, okay, there's a phenom in my position. His name is Reece James. He's a beast. Guys talking about him as Chelsea captain. If he becomes captain, he's not getting dropped. He's playing regularly. I'm not going to wait here and wait for the guy to fall off, which he might never do. All of a sudden, maybe they want to start playing me at left wing back, and then it just stops my whole progression. I want to play week in, week out. Like, football is a short career. So I think a lot of these young players, and we've done it as well. We've gone and taken youth team players from other teams and said, listen, come to Chelsea, Easy Brown, and a couple of other guys from other teams. So we do it as well. So it's not just us that it gets done to. If anything, it's more a compliment to us. That's what used to happen to Barcelona's academy. Yeah, they just used to get picked up all the time.
Do you remember back in the day? I think Frank Lampard played a whole season and a half, back to back, every single game. Mm. Okay, that doesn't happen anymore. You can't do that anymore.
Azpilicueta up until this season had missed 2 games in 8 years for Chelsea.
Two games in 8 years.
Yeah, for injury for Chelsea.
Yeah. The positions where this is possible at is a centre back, a goalkeeper. This isn't possible for a right wing back, a winger, a midfielder, a striker. Okay, because the energy that you have to put in, the body can't handle that, and especially with the way we're playing now. I mean, back in those days, you'd play once a week, twice a week, maybe twice a month. You'd have a midweek match. Now We have a midweek match every single week.
You don't think that the coaches...
Hold on. Yeah. The body can't take that. The body can't take that, especially when you are when you're playing in a position where you are going to be, putting a lot of energy and a lot of miles in the game. And Reece James, his position, a winger, a wing back, a striker, midfielders, depending on the midfielders. I mean, Kante cannot do it no matter what. Kante, the amount of miles he puts in every time he's on that pitch. So you have to have a contingency plan. You have to have at least one quality backup and one rotation. One play. I mean, I'm not a manager. I'm nowhere near it. But what I would do is I would have at least one player in my development squad who is able to step in should I need him. Okay, so I'll have.
That's easy to say though, but like
planning
that's
ahead.
Easy to say. Very hard. How do you plan ahead for something like that?
But a lot of managers.
We have hold on. We have one of the best academies. We have one of the best development squads in the country. We can build a team to a second team to support the first team. We can do that. We have the ability to do that.
I have no doubt, but it's just the methods in which you want to go about that. Let me just find out.
Can I say something about this?
Yeah.
Lamptey, if Lampard listened to Jody Morris, Lamptey would have stayed. Because when they came back, Reece James had an ankle injury. Remember, operation on his ankle. He was out for two and a half months. Aspi was playing every game, week in, week out. Jody Morris was pushing for Lampard to give Lamptey like the opportunity to play, like be a sub, like once in a while to play on those games. But he didn't. Until Reece James recovered and come back, so Reece James started deputizing for Aspi. If it was up to Jody Morris, Lamptey would have played. That's why that Arsenal game, Lampard come out and said, Jody Morris was the one that said, you know what, this game is good for him. Put him in. And he put him, he changed it. So I believe if he would have played in the beginning of the season, he would have signed that new contract. But because he didn't see a pathway, he only saw, Aspi is going to be first choice, Reece is second choice. I believe if Lamptey was given that chance at the beginning of the season, it would have been Lamptey and Reece right now, not Aspi. I believe that.
You're probably right, but there's not much...
It's injury time, by the way. 0-0 injury time.
Okay. I'm just saying we don't. That's not a realistic.
Sorry, Catch.
This point.
Catch. Yeah. One more second, Catch. Pod. Whose result was that?
No, Wolves versus Liverpool 0-0 at the moment. They're into injury time.
Fantastic.
You just jinxed it, man. You see how that goes?
You just. I'm watching it too, Pod. I'm watching it. I'm not saying anything. I'm just waiting.
That's what I'm saying, man. You
jinxed it.
No. But listen, coaches given the opportunity, especially at Chelsea, will always go with experienced players. Like we've seen this, yeah. When you're gonna have a backup, they're gonna have two inexperienced guys playing in the same position. They'll always want to have one experienced guy who can come in for a couple of games and steady the ship when the young guy is suffering from confidence or lack of form or fitness or whatever. So I don't believe that we would have had two 21-year-olds or two 20-year-olds at right back. You know,
these guys have aspirations to play football as well, right? It's not just about the money; it's about the opportunities as well. If you have a chance to go to Brighton,
I'm talking about he would have signed the contract. That would give us an opportunity. Like right now, we play wing backs. Okay, when Tuchel come in, I believe he would have signed the contract, and now he would have worked out for all of us.
You can say that, but right now you're saying that's your belief that you think that he would have signed the contract if he would have had 1 or 2 games here and there. But truly, what if he wants to go and play all the time? What if he saw himself as being a first choice left back or right back? And 1-0 in Liverpool. I knew it, man. I told you guys, man. Holy fuck, man.
It's not. It's still 0-0. No, it's still 0-0.
So don't put anything in the chat that's foolishness, please. Thank you very much. Okay. And yo, is it 1-0 or was 0-0?
No, it's 0-0.
Okay, so all I'm saying is you're assuming that he would just he didn't want to just be a backup. Like if he has an opportunity to start game in game out at what's it called, at Brighton, and that's the best move for his career, he's going to take that move. It's not about just Chelsea all the time, right? We can't really think about things like that. If we'd given him 1 and 2 opportunities, would the game be different?
And it happens at every.
I'm saying this.
No, Coach, you're not getting where I'm coming from. What I'm talking about, he would have signed an extension. That would put us in a stronger position. That means we control his destiny. Just like
that's
Callum.
Your assumption.
No. It's just like Callum. Callum was the reason why Callum stayed is because of Jody Morris. Okay, that's what I'm telling you. Because of he saw a pathway. And Jody Morris was trying to convince Lamptey there's a pathway, but he didn't play for the first 3 months, 2.5 months. Reece was injured. And him and his father said it's not true.
Yeah, I'm sure the 120K didn't help Callum make his decision. Like, come on.
180,000.
No, it's not 180,000. Callum is on 120. Well, believe me.
Yeah.
No, it's 120. And people think, guess what? If Callum signed for Bayern Munich, it would have been on 10 million. He would have had a signing bonus and 98,000 a week. It would have made the money he made at Chelsea. Exactly. So people shouldn't think it's only money. If he went to Bayern Munich, he would have made the same money. He stayed because of Jody Morris. Okay? Neil Bath.
I mean, the money was on the table.
Yes, the money was on the table.
Yeah, we overpaid him,
no,
right?
We matched what he was going to get at Bayern. That's what we matched.
Yeah, but MDT, what I'm saying is that 5 years ago, you wouldn't have even have had youth team players saying anything. They wouldn't have had the nerve to come and say, "Oh, I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave Chelsea. I'm not going to sign. I'm going to this." This is all a new thing. Like the mentality of these young players is different. And it happens to every club.
Because of the quality. Yeah, the quality of these young players at the different level. And also, what you fail to understand, most of these young players, they learn from people like Louis Baker, Nathaniel Chalobah. They were wanted by all the top teams in Europe. Chelsea keep loaning them, making money out of them. And what happened to their career? Okay, that's why now the young players taking their career into their hands. It's nothing to do with is unheard of. It's because of their rights to take their career into their hands. Let's be honest.
I know, which is why I'm saying it's unrealistic to think that we could have kept all of them. You know, some of them would have to leave no matter what. You know,
I agree with you. Yeah. Well, I mean, signing them into a new contract, it put us in a very strong position. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about we keeping them. It's like right now, okay, Lamptey, even like if he decides want to leave, we could have sold him for more money, like we did to Tamori, like how do you call it, Tammy, because they're under more contract, but we end up losing him for 2 million, 3 million. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes the easy fix is the most expensive fix.
I guess what I'm saying right now is that it is a long season ahead. You know, as you can see, Liverpool has already dropped points, and they will drop more points.
No, they just scored.
It's over. The game's full time.
No, they scored. Oh, 0-0. Is it an offside?
What are you doing, man? Oh. You guys are killing me. You guys are killing me, man.
You're ahead. You're behind, MDT. You're behind the stream.
Oh, thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Bobby. I love you, Bobby.
No, I love you. The fact of the matter is that.
Oh, God.
The fact of the matter is that, you know, it's a long season. There's a lot of football ahead. I can see where you got the goal from, but what the hell's going on here? Wait, hang on.
They scored.
When?
Oh, fuck.
Hold on.
That was not offside. I don't think that was offside.
How did that come? Unbelievable. Liverpool finally find a way through.
Oh my God! Yeah, they scored. They literally scored.
Yeah, it wasn't offside.
Just scored.
Origi, of all people. Yeah, squad player.
90 plus 6 minutes.
90 plus
6 minutes.
Came off the bench and scored.
All right, fellas, I gotta go.
Well, there's still a long way to go. I mean, that's another stroke of luck. I think this is a very unlucky weekend for us, and it's going, it's going to happen. I'm
Couch,
very sure.
Easy on the F-bombs, Couch. Easy on the F-bombs.
Sorry about it, man. I gotta bounce anyways, but I apologize for the F-bombs, guys. Let's talk again soon. We're gonna go again on Wednesday, man.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely, Couch. I'm very sure the others will drop points eventually. That is certain.
I don't know. I got the priorities wrong because I was saying, it doesn't matter about the performance, but you can't be performing so badly that you don't even get a draw, So the most important thing is the results, but the performances have to be better to get anything out of the matches. So
yeah, but look today, Liverpool was struggling. So
yeah, they
this
were.
Premier League, I don't think it's going to be easy. Man City struggle against Villa. So we have to, because most Chelsea fans, I think sometimes we don't watch this other team. We just see result and flashing result. I saw Liverpool struggle against Brighton. They were lucky. They were lucky at home. Okay, there are a lot of these games, even Man City against Brighton, the scoreline was fake, that 3-1 or whatever. Brighton should have been 3-4-0 up. So sometimes we see their result, because we concentrate on our performance. But most of the top 3 teams, they all have had this type of performance. And us, we've been doing it for the past couple of months. The past 6 weeks with half of a squad. So imagine that, 6 weeks with half of a squad. So I mean, sometimes I think we are being harsh on the team because 6 weeks with half of a squad. That's a great achievement.
All right, thank you, Mo. Thank you very much, people. With that, we're going to start. We're going to end the stream. It's been an emotional stream. It's been a controversial one in regards to some of the opinions that were expressed, some of the emotions that were expressed. But at the end of the day, we're all Chelsea fans. And I'm just going to address one comment. Varane, I'm not happy with you, mate. I am not happy with you. You're lucky I only timed you out because I was this close to blocking you. You jinxed it, and they've won. They've won 1-0. So I'm not happy with you, mate. Don't do that again. All right? Because next time I will block you. All right, people, it's been a great stream for different reasons to the result, but it's been a good debate, a good discussion. Everybody in the chat, thank you all for supporting, and thanks to the 75 people who eventually did end up liking the stream. We've had a lot of new subscribers, so big up to everyone who has joined the Blue Lounge family. Thank you all for hitting that subscribe button, and we will provide you with more uplifting content in the future as and when Chelsea start to win. And I think the midweek game against Zenit would be a good one, and then the one after that with Leeds. We do have some good fixtures coming up that I think Chelsea should be able to take advantage of. But it is a congested month of December. So let's see what happens. I'm actually gonna give everyone a couple of minutes to give me their closing statements before we sign out. I'll start with MDT. MDT, give me your final thoughts, mate.
To be honest with you, I was watching the game. You get upset and emotional, whatever. But after the match, I rationalize it and I look at it. I'm like, you know what? These people are human. So the amount of games they've been playing, you have fit players, unfit players, players that are coming back, and things like that. This mixture and the accumulation of games. Some people have mental fatigue. Some people just have physical fatigue. Some people are not ready, and we're still competing. So I just have to say, after looking back, I mean, they're doing their best. And also by us being here, just being close, it's a good sign. As soon as we get our players back, I believe that we will hit top 4 again. And also one thing I'm happy about is having Mason Mount back on form. Ziyech is on form, but Mason Mount is one of the most important players of this squad. Having Mount back, for me, is unbelievable. People underestimate that. Mason Mount on form is the best thing that's happened so far. The rest, we just hope they all get back to Ziyech's fitness, Mason Mount's fitness, and try to make sure the players, they don't play too much. Try to see what we can do. Whether give Rudiger a rest, play Malan Sarr, I don't know. But if we can navigate this Christmas period and be within a point or two or top 1st of January, I believe we'll win the league. But it's to navigate this busy period. That's all. And thank you for having me, Mo. And Bobby,
Pleasure.
Godfather, and Eric. You guys have a good weekend.
You too, brother.
Yeah, you
Take
too.
care. Have a good one.
Yes.
Okay.
Cheers. I think MDT made some good points, especially about being positive and optimistic. My concern is not only the month of December, but also the start of January. Tough fixtures there with Liverpool and Man City, and then Spurs, and Mendy off to AFCON. So it's a tough couple of months. But I agree with him. If we are able to turn it around and come through these couple of months in pole position, then we should be able to see it through. So fingers crossed we'll do that. Bobby, smoke signals, mate. Give me your final thoughts.
Yeah, it's as I said, it's been a disappointing weekend, but this is football. We're going to have these. They're fewer than they are frequent, so I think we have to learn to take them. Just as MDT said, the issue is being there or thereabouts up till January, and then we're in with as good a chance as any. I think if there are any things that give me concern, it is with the lack of strength in depth. We have numbers in depth, but we don't particularly have strength in depth. And I think this, today has shown that. Liverpool have struggled. It's quite clear, waiting till the 96th minute to get a goal against Wolves. I view that as lucky. But the thing about luck in the Premier League is that you can't live on it. Eventually, something goes against you, and their time is coming. As is Man City, as much as they have perhaps the better strength in squad, depth in squads, they won't win every game, especially over the Christmas period. So we just have to hang in there. As I've said, we do have people coming back from injury, but it's going to take some time. One thing that I feel Thomas Tuchel was spot on about was that if we want to go anywhere, if we want to make our efforts pay, we have to cut out some of the stupid mistakes we made today.
Yep. Agree 100%. Bobby, always a pleasure to have you on. Always a pleasure to have your insight. Hopefully, we will see you for the match preview for Zenit. I might be streaming tomorrow. I think I might be streaming tomorrow. Just a couple of things. But then we'll be doing a preview for Zenit. So hopefully I'll see you then. Have a good one, Bobby. Take care.
Thanks for having me. Right.
Cheers, Bobby. Thank you. Yeah, lads. We... tomorrow is Sunday. I will probably be streaming tomorrow. Just to recap on a lot of the things that we discussed today, and also to address some of the Chelsea-related stories that have been making the press recently. I've not done that for a little while, so we'll be probably doing that tomorrow. We will go to Podfather. Podfather, this is your first. I think this is your first full panel stream with us. How did you find it?
Yeah, it was a battle. There seems to be a lot of resistance to my ideas.
Hey, listen. It's a healthy debate, and to be fair, when we have this kind of discussion, when we have people questioning your thoughts and ideas, that's when we benefit. All of us, we all benefit. I mean, if you agree with me and I agree with you, then we're not really going to get, we're not going to get anywhere, because it's just going to be regurgitating the same thing. But when we have a discussion and a debate, that's when we both benefit. So I'm glad you had that today, and I'm glad you were here on the stream. It was a good discussion, and thank you for taking part. Give me your final thoughts, mate.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I think as long as at the end of the discussion we can all say we've learned something new or looked at something in a new way that we weren't seeing it from before, and I think everybody's made good enough points that somebody can take something from it. Sure. I would like to think that there's some tactical alterations that can be done. I keep saying this. I don't know why people are so resistant to changing the formation. Maybe because they think it kind of like gives the sense of, oh, we failed, or it was a bad formation. I don't see it like that. I'm very tactically flexible in how I like to play football. Teams I've supported, managers that we've had, even at Chelsea, whether it's Mourinho or Ancelotti or whoever, they've been tactically flexible, go 2 up top, 4-5-1, 4-3-3, 4-4-2. It's never been specifically about one formation, no matter what. And I think that's a big part of being a manager. So it'll be interesting to see going forward if there are any tactical alterations to try and just to give us new ideas and new ways of playing. And okay, this player is in form now, so let's play this formation to get the best out of this one, and maybe he'll carry us for this 2-3 games. Because sometimes it just comes down to that, for an individual hot streak of form. I remember I think it was the lockdown season when Pulisic hits form. And everything's about getting the best out of him, and he pretty much carries us to top 4 towards the end of that season. It's all about Olivier Giroud playing off him and him just getting the goal. Sometimes it just happens like that. It's not about playing the same formation all the time. The Lukaku one as well, I'll be watching it closely. I definitely want to see. I want to have a definitive answer whether this guy is good enough or not. So, and the only way we're going to know is whether it's from him playing. I think before his injury, Tuchel was starting to experiment with the 2 up front. Like a lot of games he played Werner and him, and he was starting to look a bit better. So I would like to see that again at some point, where if you give him another striker to play up there, and it's not about him just standing in the middle, he can drift out wide and be a bit more flexible in his movement. Whether that improves his form as well, because obviously that's what he had at Inter Milan as well. So that would be interesting to see. In terms of how I think the season is going to go, I think December, for whatever reason, is always a very tough month for Chelsea. I'm not looking forward to the Christmas period, but I think if you get to January, you don't have to be top. I think if you're within 4 or 5 points, I think that's enough. And in the title race, you go from there, and then anything can happen the last 2-3 months. So
sure.
Hopefully that's just the way everything turns out.
January is for me is where we do it or we don't, because we're playing Man City and Liverpool and Spurs 3 games back to back, tough games, and if we are able to secure some good results there, I think we can start seeing a gap being built by us if we were to get the good results then. So we'll have to wait and see how January pans out. Podfather, pleasure having you on, mate. Hopefully we'll see you in the next streams. We'll be streaming tomorrow. I will send you a link if you're able to come on. Welcome to do so. Take care, brother. Have a good evening.
All right. Cheers. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye. All right. It's me and Eric. Eric, my man. Your final thoughts?
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to clarify once again that I don't think Chelsea are out of the title race.
Of course not.
I think it's still possible for us to win the title.
Yes.
But I think it's unlikely. I don't expect it to happen. And it's going to be very difficult. It was always going to be difficult, but
Premier
just
League
because
would
I
never
don't...
be easy, Eric. It would never be easy.
And especially with the teams we are competing with right now. Just because I don't think we'll win the title doesn't mean I think the title race is over, if you know what I'm saying. We might be close and miss out. We might be a point off and still miss out. So that's just what I'm thinking. And I think so far, so good, because we're challenging. That was the main thing for me. We're supposed to challenge for the title. I don't think anybody should have expected us to win it 100%, but we're challenging. We're up there, So that is that's good for me. But in terms of right now, the main issues for the team is we stop keeping clean sheets. Stop keeping clean sheets. We don't manage the game the way we used to. And I already heard about all the reasons why, potentially. Players are tired. We've had injuries, things like that. Fair enough. But we need to figure something out. We need to figure it out. Marcos Alonso is an issue for me. I don't know what the solution is, but there's a problem there. Lukaku is another problem. And like I told you before, when we did the pre-match stream, I said I'm not so excited. I'm not excited about Lukaku coming back. The main thing is, how is he being used? How are we playing when he's back in the team? And we saw again today, Tuchel seems to just play him as a hold-up striker, And I think there's more to his game than that. And I know Bobby doesn't think that it's a system thing. He just blames Lukaku. He says it's on the player. But I see Lukaku trying to make runs, and nobody even tries to find him. The person who used to find him before.
Eric, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't think it's Lukaku right now. I think it's about Tuchel utilizing Lukaku properly, and I think Conte was spot on when he said that Chelsea are not utilizing Lukaku properly, because I think what Lukaku brings is not necessarily what Chelsea is. You see, the system we're playing with Havertz is not the same system that we need to be playing with Lukaku. Two different type of strikers, two different kind of profiles, and I think the reason why Ziyech was taken off and Callum brought on was to cater for that, but I think it was too little, too late. I think had you have made that substitution from the start of the half, it would have been better. But again, you know, hindsight is a luxury that we have that Tuchel doesn't have. So
just to continue with Lukaku, like you said, I completely agree. It's not about Lukaku; it's about the way he's being used. I don't think Tuchel is using him in the best way. But obviously, like I said, that's another issue that needs to be figured out. We need to figure out how to get the best out of Lukaku, because we need him, in my opinion, to win the title. So when the Podfather says he doesn't think Lukaku, we'll see if Lukaku is good enough, I completely disagree with that. Lukaku is good enough to play for Chelsea. I have no doubts about it. And if it's not happening, then we have to look elsewhere, because even all throughout his career, even at United, he scored goals. He scored goals wherever he went. So if he's not scoring goals at Chelsea, it's not on him. It's the way he's being used. You know, people were even I was on a stream and I was arguing with this guy on Twitter. I don't know if you've heard of him. You know, the minerals dude, the guy with the minerals.
Yeah, I know. Johnny.
Yeah. Obviously, we know we had a few conversations. We know who he is, but he was basically saying on GNA TV that Lukaku wasn't Tuchel signing. Tuchel didn't want Lukaku, and he was a Chelsea signing. And as I disagree with him a lot, but the more I look at it, maybe he's right. Maybe he's right, because it doesn't seem as if Tuchel is playing him the way we expect. You know, like you said, Conte said Tuchel isn't getting the best out of him. So maybe he was just a club signing. But then why would you spend so much money to buy somebody who the manager? Obviously, I'm not saying Tuchel was against the signing, but it's just a curious thing. And I know it's not, it's still early, so we can't jump to any conclusions, but there needs to be some kind of solution there.
To be fair, I mean, the guy you're referring to, Johnny, is someone who I've seen on GNA TV stream. I've seen him on Monster stream, so I know of him. He does have a specific mindset in respect to a lot of issues. Agree, disagree, but the thing is this: I don't think we are in a position to be able to say that it was a Tuchel signing or a club signing. I don't think we know enough information to be able to distinguish which way it went. That being said, I think any manager in the Premier League being given a striker with Lukaku's history, with Lukaku's ability, would be happy to see them at their club. Would he have preferred Erling Haaland? I think everybody would have preferred Erling Haaland to Lukaku. But the fact that we've got Lukaku doesn't mean that there is a problem there. I think there is an adjustment that needs to be made, and I think with time we will make that adjustment, because don't forget, I think Lukaku played 7 games and then he got injured, and now he's played 3 games as a substitute. So it's still early doors when it comes to Lukaku and our judgment on Lukaku. And I know a lot of people will be saying Mo is making a lot of excuses for Lukaku and he's not doing the same for others. Well, no, because Lukaku's been here a few matches. The others have been here a season and a half. Therefore, they've had more time to adjust. We've had more time to judge them. I don't think we can say I don't think we have a good enough sample size to be able to judge Lukaku on today.
But we have to be positive. I don't want to be too negative. So I'm still optimistic about the season. I'm still happy with because it was based on my personal expectations. So I'm still happy with where we are. I still think we'll win a few trophies this season. And like I said, the title isn't out of reach. It's still possible. And I'm still optimistic because we have to be. There's so many good things. We're still the European champions, But the main thing of negativity for me is because of the desire to win the title, because we haven't won it in so long, and because of the teams we're competing with. That's the main reason why it's so negative, because we know the standards are so high. But other than that, I think we just need to navigate December, January, like you said, and I think we will be very happy at the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. Eric Blue, always a pleasure having you on. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow in the stream tomorrow evening. If you've got time, it'll be good to have you back on. I know it's not a good way to start your weekend, but hopefully it'll get better.
Yeah. Look, I always try to not be too. I mean, if this was like 5 years ago, I would have been. I don't know what I would have done, but nowadays I'm a little bit. I can handle these negative moments better because I've had to force myself.
You know what, Eric. I'm actually glad we've done the stream today because normally when we have a defeat like that or we have a result like that, I don't do the stream for a day and I do it 24 hours later just so that I've calmed down. But actually, I'm feeling better that I've done it and I've got it out of the way and I can move on to thinking about other things. So it's good that we've done this and hopefully we can focus on the Zenit game and focus on the Leeds game next weekend and move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, brother. Have a good night. Take care, and I will see you. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, Eric.
See you.
Cheers, bro. Thank you. Bye, Eric. All right, let's have a look at the likes. 86 likes. 86 likes. I think we've had nearly 4,000 people watching the stream tonight, and we've only had 86 people hitting that like button. I know we lost the game, and I know a lot of you are not happy about that. But like I said, it isn't my fault. So if you've enjoyed the stream, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you are new to the Blue Lounge, hit that subscribe button. We will be streaming again tomorrow. We'll be discussing all the latest and most relevant Chelsea news. And I've seen a couple of people in the stream that are not Chelsea fans. And the fact that they've actually chatted in the chat, it means that they've subscribed. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed, whether you're a Chelsea fan or not. It's good to have a debate and good to have a banter with fans of other clubs in the chat. So thank you for being here. Thank you for participating, lads. We'll be back on the channel tomorrow, giving you more content. But for tonight, I will wish you all the best of luck and good night, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.